When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab regularly. If you want to get access to my early content, check out the Discord. This series is one of the rare few that won't have any type of wait period when I make it. I normally just wait a day and then I release it on YouTube, but this specific series, I won't be doing that. With that information out of the way, this is Deku and Jinx, the explosion couple, part 7. Let's continue where we last left off in our story. Deku picked up a small device on the far end on the table and stuck it in his pockets of his pants, as he proceeds to walk towards the exit as the door automatically unseals itself, allowing Deku to leave. Even if the door didn't unseal itself, Deku would have got out regardless. It just would be a lot more loud. Sealed doors or locked doors don't seem to be a problem when you can create explosions like a bomb factory on a whim. Deku calmly walked out and began to use the small device to locate an entrance to gain access to Old Gotham that's currently underneath New Gotham. Deku briefly texts his mother, keeping her informed of the situation. Then he proceeds to try to locate one of the entrances to get to Old Gotham. While Deku is trying to find one of the entrances to Old Gotham, Lady Nagant was on her way to see Poison Ivy. Lady Nagant found Poison Ivy's territory under attack by different type of factions that are taking part in the turf war. It seems some factions of the criminal underworld are trying to take over Ivy's territory as well. Lady Nagant climbed up on a fire escape. With a more wide view of the area, she has a better view of all the hostiles. She merely used her quirk to create her rifle. She merely got in a position on the ground of the roof and began to open fire. To fire one bullet after another that she created using her hair. She doesn't have to use that method only. She could use normal bullets. It's just more convenient when she can do it with her hair that she plucks from her head. One goon after another begin to fall, dead, from their gunshot wounds in the head that many of the goons suffered from the different factions that is currently attacking Poison Ivy's territory. But so far that Lady Nagant could notice, the goons under Ivy's control is being controlled by some sort of flower that's protruding from their skin. Clearly, Ivy has made living puppets. They seem to be holding back pretty well though. But she knows over time that might change sooner or later. all the different types of different factions, will eventually push past her line and eventually overwhelm her. Not even the living puppets that she controls won't be able to stop them when they group up against her. Of course, Lady Nagant knows full well how Poison Ivy operates. She doesn't care. She does find it unnerving, most definitely, but it's still not her problem. Lady Nagant immediately began to change locations. She already noticed that the goons down on the street below level has already located her position. They immediately open fire as she moves from one rooftop to another. With her quirk deactivated, she pulled out a sidearm while jumping to the next roof and opened fire upon the goon, shooting below her and shooting him in the head. She maneuvered her body from upside down to land on the roof of the building. Then Lady Nagant went into a roll, then sprint forward, continuing to run. Nagant went through a couple of live grenades off the side of the building, landing right in front of many of the goons. As a explosion went off, killing many of them. That was an immediate area of the radius of the blast from all the different factions that are attacking Poison Ivy. Before Lady Nagant could figure out who's attacking Ivy, it's Penguin, Bane, but she doesn't find them specifically there, only their goons. Nagant could easily identify what goon belongs to what faction. They have their own unique differences from all the different type of goons. It is easy for her, with her keen eye, to easily notice and figure out who's who. One of Bane's goons pulled out a rocket launcher from the nearby vehicle that they drove in. Lady Nagant jumped at the right time. The rocket flew towards her as she jumped and used the top part of the missile as a springboard to jump into midair as the missile went off in behind Lady Nagant. Lady Nagant spun herself to be upside down as she immediately begins to fire down at the goons with her pistol. When Lady Nagant was finally descending down to the street level, she landed and went into a roll. Then she immediately bolted forward, holstering her pistol and taking out her combat knife. Then she immediately took out the first goon she saw by plunging her combat knife into the man's throat, then yanking her combat knife out of his skin as blood begins to gush and burst. As Lady Nagant moved on to the next goon, Nagant continued to do this engagement combat with all the goons, killing them, backing off, then killing them again. She just simply rinsed and repeat until she finally got to Ivy's greenhouse, covered in blood. The mind control men guided her in without no trouble. Despite the situation, it's always good to get a visit from a friend. Oh dear, by judging by all that blood that's over your clothes, you had trouble getting here. You could say that, Ivy. Seems like I'm not the only one that found themselves in a little bit of trouble. It's Gotham, oddly enough. I'm not new to this sort of situation, but I do appreciate the help. But I'm quite curious why you wanted to see me. I don't think this is a social call. Unfortunately, no. I'm on a mission right now. I'm looking for a Yakuza man that wears a plague mask that goes by Overhaul. Do you happen to have any information on him? Overhaul, you say? Plague mask. Well, I did hear a rumor that someone matching that specific description was having talks with Two-Face and Black Mask. Considering how Two-Face is dead, no thanks to you. Thank you for that. That's one less pain I have to deal with. I'm not sure the whole meeting with the Black Mask is true or not. You're right, Overhaul did meet up with Black Mask. I take it you already questioned him? Not me, my son. Deku, was it? He's currently in process of getting that information. I just wanted to see if you knew anything else. No, me, I don't socialize with Yakuzas. But wait, if Black Mask doesn't have the location, who would? Don't tell me. The Riddler. You know of him? We know each other. He's dangerous. You don't need to worry about that. Deku is capable of defending himself quite nicely. He did mention he'll be taking part in some deadly puzzles. That makes sense. The Riddler only makes riddles when he doesn't have enough time. But given time is not a factor, he's definitely going to pull out all the stops. Meanwhile, Deku is searching randomly, following the device he got from the Riddler. As it continued to beep, the rate of the beeps hasn't increased. That means he's nowhere near any of the entrants so far. So he continued on his way. The small device finally started to beep faster. After following whatever power source or signal the small device can detect, eventually led him to one of the more larger graveyards that's in Gotham. He followed the device all the way to a large stone building on the graveyard. As he opened the door, it's basically like a crypt. He looked around inside. After lighting a torch that's on the side of the wall, he saw several similar torches scattered all around the walls, as there were several coffins decorated on the walls itself. He noticed a slight breeze from the floor, from a crack. He looked around a few times with his index finger under his chin in a thinking pose. As he looked around the room, analyzing every detail, then he saw something that caught his eye, a singular torch that was different from the rest on design and how it was made. As he walked towards the torch and pulled it down, as a noise can be heard, as the floor began to slide back, revealing a secret pathway. Well, look at that, a secret entrance. We're definitely getting closer. As he begins to walk down the stairway, entering the hidden pathway, when he finally got to the end, he walked through the door to find himself in a similar room that he was in when before he entered the secret passageway. It was a complete replica. But there were slight differences he noticed from this crypt, from the earlier crypt, as he walked out of the crypt and found himself in a graveyard. But the difference was quite evident. He looked up at the sky to see nothing but rock and dirt above him. Excellent. You're right on time. Deku, welcome to Old Gotham. As Riddler gave a mocking bow. We have so much to do in so little time. Follow me. And please watch your step. This graveyard hasn't been used for quite some time. I got to admit, I wasn't expecting almost a fully intact city underneath the current one. Old Gotham has been a mystery, even to me. What information I do have on Old Gotham is not enough to get the full picture of its history. They finally arrive at their destination as Deku saw an entrance to a stone maze right in front of him. Welcome to your first puzzle, my boy. As you see, this is a man-made maze. The rules are quite simple. You're allowed to use your powers only to get to one point to another, just for maneuverability and all that. Don't worry about that. I don't plan to use my explosions to make it easier for me. I might use it to maneuver, but not attack. For now. It's quite rare and refreshing to have a willing combatant to take part of my puzzles. We're getting off topic. You must enter the maze and complete it. That doesn't sound too hard. But that's not all. I have kidnapped and relocated, however you want to phrase it, inmates, and placed them in the maze. Your job is to find and locate the keys. Specifically, a green key. And I placed many keys somewhere inside their bodies. One of them have the key you need to unlock the next phase of your next puzzle. You also keep in mind, once you enter the maze, the countdown will begin, and if the time clock turns 0, man-eating tigers will be released in the maze. Can't have a proper maze without a little bit of danger. It is your job to complete this maze, regardless if the time runs out or not. Clever. Tell me, where are these keys? And how you phrase it, you purposely didn't tell me exactly where you implanted these keys at. Well, I can't have you complete my puzzle too fast, can I? I like you, Riddler. Anything else I need to know? The inmates I captured do have weapons of their own, so keep that in mind. They're more than willing to defend themselves. No worries, Riddler. That shouldn't be a problem. As he walked into the maze with a grin forming on his face underneath his face guard mask. The first thing Deku noticed when he entered a large stone maze, he saw multiple torches on the side of the wall of the maze, lighting the way. Deku took a random direction when he had more than one way to go, moving forward. Deku immediately made contact with one of the inmates. The man instantly opened fire, and Deku began to dodge out of the way using his explosions. As as a slight boost to move swiftly. Deku managed to dodge without getting hit. Then he instantly kicked the gun out of the man's hand. Immediately followed it up with a vicious knee into the stomach, forcing the inmate to go down on one knee and start to cough up spit. Then Deku snapped the man's neck. He took the dead inmate on his stomach to reveal a slight imprint of a key in the back of his neck. He immediately took out his combat knife and cut open the back of his neck and pulled out a red key. Look at that, a red key. Good. I don't want to get the right key too fastly. I'm starting to have fun. Meanwhile, the Riddler was in his room watching all the video feeds of the entire maze, where he could see everything on a monitor. That looks like that hurt. I get shivers just thinking about that kid snapping that man's neck so easily. I'll have to keep that in mind. He's more than willing to use lethal force. And the way he used his explosion was very effective. He definitely has experience with his powers. Of course, that would have been obvious. After all, the kid did cross paths with the Bat and actually outsmarted the man and actually won. Alright boys, just keep doing what you're doing. I don't want anyone to interrupt my puzzle games. Not even 2 minutes walking through the maze, several traps were activated. As sharp spikes shoot out of the wall of both sides of Deku. Without even thinking, just with pure instinct, he created small explosions in his hands and reflected all the sharp spikes that were flying towards him. As the spikes were redirected as they dug into the wall of the maze, the little round hovering robot hovered in front of Deku as a holographic image of Riddler appeared. I knew something slipped my mind. Try to be careful moving forward. This entire maze has been booby-trapped, with variations of different traps. Have fun. As a holographic image of the Riddler cut off, as a small round robot flew away. Deku was not worried one bit as he pressed forward. Eventually came across 2 more inmates. They immediately split up the moment they saw him, going into different directions in the maze, forcing Deku to follow one of them. So he took the right path to the far right. When he finally caught up with the inmate, he was already impaled with several metal spears, pinning him to one of the side of the wall. Deku immediately noticed the very medium-sized round holes on the wall where those metal spears came from. He must have triggered a trap. No matter. So he took out his hunting knife and grabbed his hair and pulled his head a little bit forward to see the back of his neck, as he sees a similar imprint of a key under his skin, as he carefully removed the key from the back of his neck. And yet again, there was only a red key. With nothing left to do, he cleaned his knife by using the man's clothes and continued forward. Deku looked at the holographic timer that's still counting down above the huge maze. where anyone could see, no matter where you're at the maze, counting down. It's basically like a digital clock. Deku noticed he doesn't have a whole lot of time left, so he begins to travel through the maze faster, using his explosions as accelerators on his feet. Then use explosions he could create with his hands to take sharp turns, traveling through the maze, eventually catching up with another inmate. Deku deactivated his explosion and rushed forward and slammed his hunting knife into the man's chest, killing him by piercing his heart. When the man fell on his face, dead, Deku cut the key out of the back of his neck. It's another red key. As he's beginning to collect quite the collection, no signs of green keys so far. He was forced to push forward, traveling through the maze, using his explosions to cover more ground. Deku found himself at the exit of the maze with 4 inmates that could be seen. Oh, how nice of you all to gather up, all at once. So nicely. Most appreciated. Before they could even use their firearms, Deku blitzed towards them. He moved too fast for the inmates to even react, as he kicked and punched and blasted their weapons out of their hands in a seamless and swift motion, disarming them almost all at the same time. Once all 4 inmates no longer had their weapons, they were immediately blasted back, hitting the wall of the maze, all in different directions. That's when they heard a loud alarm sound went off. Deku looked up at the holographic image of a digital clock, has finally hit 0. Several spots in the maze start to reveal themselves as man-eating tigers came out of their hiding holes and began to sniff the air as tigers immediately started to bolt forward towards the scent of fresh meat. Well, gentlemen, it seems I'm fresh out of time. Nothing personal. You do feel it, don't you? Your body feels weak. How you could barely move your limbs. How you could breathe, how you're breathing heavy. In short breaths. What the hell did you do to us? It's quite simple. You were exposed to my explosions. Like it was the most obvious thing to say. Confusing a man why that would even matter if we were exposed to your explosions or not. It's quite simple, gentlemen. What kind of explosions do you think I have? Use what brain cells you have. My explosions are not red. They're green. What type of fire is usually green or blue? Exposed to certain elements and chemicals. Chemical fire. Precisely, now add everything together. You can't be fucking serious. You maniac. That I am. You've had a good amount of exposure to my chemical explosions. Therefore, you were exposed to the chemical poisoning that's been coursing through your body. As we speak, the poison's slowly spreading. First, it will affect your muscles. Then once they cause enough damage, they will move to your organs. And surely your organs will start to shut down one after another. And finally, it will attack your heart. Then comes death. Deku watches the inmates drop to the ground one by one, started to convulse as green liquid started to come out of their eyes, mouth, ears, and nose. Picked one of the inmates over on his stomach and started to cut out the key out of their bodies, one dead inmate after another, until he found the green key. Before he could think on it any further, he saw several tigers finally approaching. He tossed several of the corpses towards the tigers. They immediately began to devour the dead men, not caring if it was alive or not. Deku placed several keys in the different key mechanism, using the red keys and putting the green key right in the middle. As the door began to turn, as he heard noises from the mechanics of the door unlocking, as he stepped through the door, as it shut right behind him, completing his first puzzle, as he found himself in some sort of sewer, as he walked through the sewer tunnel until he got to a large chamber with a pathway forward. In the middle of the chamber is a large, or kind of like an arena, tile going around, surrounded by water. Water looked pretty dirty. He couldn't see what was inside it, if anything was inside it. And across the way, he sees the door with the same kind of mechanism. Several places where you put several keys into the door to unlock it. Congratulations, Deku, for completing the first puzzle. Unfortunately, the puzzle I had planned for you to do has not been completed, so we're going to do a bit of a different one for this one. So I called in a favor. It's showtime. Big came out of the water, the dirty water, revealing it to be Killer Croc. Now, Killer Croc, no attacking before I explain the rules. The rules are quite simple. You see that necklace around Killer Croc's neck? That, my friend, is the key. That would be your first step for completing this room. Specific key does not open the door. It only opens small safety boxes that's down below into the water surface. In one of these safe boxes has the specific key you need, and as you experienced from the last door, not only do you need the green key, but you need a good number of red keys to actually unlock the door. I look forward to the outcome, gentlemen. Now, kill each other. It's been a while, Gecko. Stop calling me that. But I'm glad you're here, boy. I heard the ruler was putting you through some deadly puzzles, so I volunteered to do this for free. You embarrassed me the last time we fought. I know what your explosions can do. This fight won't end like the last one we had. So confident, Gecko. I wonder where all this confidence come from. Deku immediately charged forward, surprising Killer Croc by his increased speed, and swiftly let out an explosion into an exploding fist right into Killer Croc's face, sending Killer Croc sliding backwards. Deku did not stop. He landed another exploding fist, one after another, in the face and ribs, stomach of Killer Croc, as Deku jumped up in the middle of the air and land a exploding kick right into Killer Croc's stomach, almost sending Killer Croc off the edge of the platform right into the water. only for Killer Croc to dig his claws into the ground, stopping his momentum from going into the murky water. Killer Croc charged and began to throw fist after fist. Deku managed to block majority of them, as a fist hit Deku in the stomach, with Killer Croc landing a uppercut punch, lifting up Deku mere inches off the ground, then slammed his fist into Deku's face, sending the blonde skidding backwards. As Deku's face guard mask flew off his face, that skid across the ground, Deku started to laugh, like he went completely insane, as he tilted his head backwards with his hand over the right side of his face, laughing like a madman. That's it, Killer Croc. That's the feeling I've been seeking. Don't you feel it? What the fuck are you even talking about, you crazy bastard? Don't you feel it? And don't you see it? Allow me to enlighten you if you can't feel it. I will make you feel it. If you can't see it, I'll make you see it. You immediately charged forward and began to create a bigger explosion, with a crazy grin on his face, as his red crimson's eyes start to glow brightly. Deku started to land exploding palm strikes over and over, all over the upper torso of Killer Croc. Each attack Deku managed to land. He started to get more vicious and violent in his palm strikes, actually forcing Killer Croc to go on the defensive. Deku blasts forward as his ring shifts into a black metal gauntlet and slash Killer Croc across the face with his metal claws, making Killer Croc to scream out in pain as he backhand Deku away. Deku calmly flip in mid-air and land on his feet as he swiped the blood off the claws of the gauntlet. Kid is totally insane. He's definitely moving a lot more violent and more swiftly. I need to be careful. If that black metal gauntlet, definitely getting a bad feeling about it. As Killer Croc's slash wound began to heal up right in front of Deku, Deku appeared above Killer Croc and kicked him across the face as he activated a wind pulse explosion that sent Killer Croc into the wall. But Killer Croc wasn't done. He recovered in the water and began to jump out of the water, trying to slash Deku with his claws. As he jumped one side to another, from one side of the water to another, each time Killer Croc flew out of the water and tried to slash Deku. Deku met his slash with his own, with the metal claw gauntlet, creating sparks from each time their claws collided with each other. Killer Croc was sent for another pass as he jumped out of the water and tried to slash Deku once again, only for Deku to block the slash with one of his own, then grabbed Killer Croc's wrist and threw Killer Croc over his shoulder into the stone ground, then proceeded to create a explosion from the heel of his foot, sending Killer Croc into the locked door. Deku narrowed his eyes at the down Killer Croc, knowing full well that last attack was enough to knock him out, so he kept his distance. When Deku got close enough to Killer Croc, he immediately leaped up to his feet and lunged forward. Deku could easily dodge his attack. Yes, Killer Croc is quite strong, physically. And to Deku's surprise and amusement, the opponent in front of him has some sort of regeneration. That just excited Deku even further, fighting an opponent that actually could heal himself in the midst of battle. You had no idea that this brainless gecko had such an ability. He never demonstrated it in the first battle they had. But despite Killer Croc's strength regeneration, Deku could easily see where his attacks are going. He's just too slow, so he could easily dodge every attempt to cause him bodily harm. As he blasts another explosion into his chest, sending Killer Croc sliding backwards, creating more space between them. Deku picked up his face guard mask and put it back on his face. Then Killer Croc could hear was the click noise from the face guard being placed over Deku's face. Deku charged forward and slammed a palm explosion in his stomach, then spin around and land another exploding kick into his chest. Deku leap in the middle of the air above Killer Croc and slam another exploding palm thrust, sending Killer Croc flying backwards. Deku yanked the key dangling from his neck and shot another explosion infused with his wind that his black gauntlet can generate just from using the air in the atmosphere, slamming Killer Croc into the side of the wall, completely knocking him out as he fell into the water, as Deku dove into the dirty water and began to swim downwards, as he begins to open the small safes on the bottom of the water, one after another, until he found enough red keys and finally found the green key and climb out of the water on top of the platform. As he approached the door and began to insert all the keys in the correct order, by the slight hints that was engraved onto the door, finally getting access to the next puzzle, as he found himself in a exact copy of the Gotham Museum, as a holographic image of Riddler shows up once again. Good, you finally got to the third puzzle. Allow me to explain how this one works. This is a replica of Gotham Museum. There are small miniature statues scattered all around the museum. Each statue has a key inside. It is your job to find the green one, but that's only part of the puzzle. Once the puzzle starts, fear toxin will be released in the entire museum. Resisting the fear toxin and finding the key is only part of the puzzle you're going to have to do. I have to find the keys while avoiding the surprise. Easily inform you of the little surprise, but that would ruin the fun. It's time for the show begin. I look forward to your results. As the holographic image of the Riddler disappeared, as fear toxin began to release in the prison, Deku's not worried. He's naturally resistant to such toxins, and his toxin that's in his body ensures any outside toxins will be neutralized. So he's not worried one bit. And plus, the face guard mask acts as a breathing mask as well. So he's not worried one bit about the fear toxin. So he continued to walk around the museum and found the first miniature statue. He slammed it on the ground, only to see a red key, and picked it up and pocketed it in his pocket. Right behind Deku, as a large snake who has been constantly given doses of venom, increasing the size of the snake, towering over Deku from behind him, as the large snake opened its mouth to reveal its very sharp fangs, drooling mouth, ready to chomp down on his unaware victim. And that's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Enjoy my time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.